versus Vikings. The first matchup between these two divisional rivals this season is set to take place in Week 5. So let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk. Back at it with another video talking, of course, NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you are a Bears fan, hit the big red subscribe button down below, people. Make sure you're following me on all my social media platforms, guys. As always, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Let's get into it. So as always, we shall start with the numbers. So in this game versus the Bears and the Vikings, it is set at an over-under of 44, which is fairly decent, honestly. The Bears totals have really been low scoring, so this one's a pleasant surprise here. The spread is -7 in favor of the Vikings. No surprise there. They're favored by a touchdown. And the Vikings are 3-1 heading into this game, and the Bears are 2-2 on the year so far. A couple of injury notes here. Viking safety Lewis Sign is out. Obviously, he is back in London getting treatment on an injury that he suffered over there. I think he's getting surgery. For the Chicago Bears side of things here, Jalen Johnson, dealing with a quad injury, has not been able to practice fully, and so he is looking like he might be potentially out for this game. David Montgomery, same thing, dealing with an ankle injury that he suffered, excuse me, against the Houston Texans in Week 3. He might be out for this game as well, so taking a look at those key injuries here. That is important to note for the Chicago Bears, who could be missing 2 starters in this one. Okay, so taking a look at this matchup for the Bears against the Minnesota Vikings, I will say this. The Vikings are a team I was high on going into this season, and they've done nothing for me to disprove that notion. Because when the Vikings lost on primetime against the Philadelphia Eagles, in which it was pretty much a blowout, a lot of people were saying, oh, this is who the Vikings are. Like, you know, they don't scare anybody. It's Kirk Cousins, this and that. And I got to tell you, folks, the Vikings are 3-1 on the season, and the only loss they have is against the Eagles, who are undefeated thus far. The best team record-wise in the NFL. That's not too shabby here. All right? So the Vikings have beaten, formidable opponents here, if you will. They've beaten the Packers, obviously the division winner for the past number of seasons. They've beaten the Lions, who look decent this season, a team on the rise, and they've beaten the Saints, who are always a tough out. This Vikings team is legit good. They are, to me, a playoff contender. I'm not going to go ahead and say Super Bowl contender, but I do think this is a playoff team. This is a playoff roster, and they've got a lot of talent, and I like their new coaching staff, their new head coach, Kevin O'Connell. So this is a team that I respect, that I think is very solid. Taking a look at the Bears and the keys for them in this game, I'll start with the defensive side. The Vikings have a lot of weapons, man. They've got a lot of freaking weapons, all right? We start with Justin Jefferson, who is one of the best receivers in football. And he had a couple of down weeks, yeah, but you were matched up against Darius Slay and, in the Vikings game too, in the Lions game, had a bad game for him. That's uncharacteristic for Justin Jefferson, but then you saw him bounce right back against the Saints in London, just torched the New Orleans Saints, and you got to respect J. Jeff, man. He is unreal. So with him there, you got Adam Thielen, who's a solid number 2. Dalvin Cook, he's an absolute beast. His backup, Alexander Mattison, solid. Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback. All he does is put up numbers. I know people don't like him on primetime, but this is not primetime, so we'll get good Kirk Cousins. So the Vikings have a lot of weapons is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You should know this, okay? So which weapon do I want to take away? All right, who do I want to take away? Do I want to take away the passing game and get pressure on Kirk Cousins, or shut down Justin Jefferson, or take away the run game with Dalvin Cook? Like, what do I think the Bears should do? And to me in this one, I would say let's focus on taking out Justin Jefferson. See, the one loss the Vikings had this year against Eagles, that was when Darius Slay shut down Justin Jefferson. Now, we don't have a Darius Slay, but Jalen Johnson's pretty damn good. Now, the problem is Jalen Johnson might miss this game. And if he does, oh my goodness, like, all bets are off here, because J. Jeff could absolutely go nuts. But if Jalen Johnson is in this game, I need him to shadow Justin Jefferson. I need him to follow him everywhere, because this man will absolutely destroy us. And the reason I'm picking Justin Jefferson as the guy to focus on over, let's say, a Dalvin Cook is Dalvin Cook is a guy who I don't think will do, much in this game in terms of being really freaking good, because he's he's a little hampered up right now. He's a little he's a little injured. He's dealing with a dislocated shoulder. He's not 100%. And I feel like if you're going to lose because Dalvin Cook's rushing the entire day, well, it's probably a slow it down, grind it out, pace down game. And you're probably not getting blown out or anything at that point. So I'm okay with that. If Justin Jefferson is going off, it's probably because he's just mossing your DBs. He's getting into the end zone. It's long plays, long completions. And before you know, you look up at the scoreboard, it's a blowout. So I'd rather that not happen. And so I can just imagine Kyler Gordon taking Justin Jefferson, and that's just making me so worried because he'll get burnt to a crisp. Like, this is going to be a problem for the Bears secondary. Their pass defense has been very good. They're 4th overall in football. And you would think, hey, we got to stop the run because we're the worst in the NFL against the run. But what can you do if you're just not good at stopping that? So let's just focus on taking away Justin Jefferson because the run defense isn't good. And like I said, Dalvin Cook's a little injured. So I'll take away Justin Jefferson if I could pick. All right. And I want to go ahead and I just pray that Jalen Johnson plays in this game. But if not, you might have to double team this man. Like, that's how it's going to be in this one. So that's the first key. Take away Justin Jefferson if you can. Our key number 2 for the Bears offense, I think it's important here that they attack the Vikings defense via the short passing game. And here's why. Yes, absolutely you want to try to run the football on this Vikings team. They're not good at stopping the run, but they're also not good at stopping the pass. The Vikings on the year, 27th overall, 26th against the pass, 23rd against the rush. So slightly better against the rush than they are the pass. But the point I'm trying to make here is they are going to be susceptible either way. So why am I picking the short, specifically passing game? It's because I know, the Vikings know, that they're going to want to take away the run game for the Bears. Because if you think about it, if you are playing the Bears, what are you doing? You're saying, I'm going to stop the running game and force Justin Fields to throw the football. That's what any team with basic logic would do. And I expect the Vikings to do the same. Well, if that is the case, and you know that the running game, they're stacking the box, they're trying to stop Khalil Herbert, who I expect to be the lead guy in this game because I think Monty will miss it. If that is the case, then you're going to need to air it out. Well, we know the Bears don't have the offensive line to air it out in this one, right? We barely get any passing plays, down the field. So you got to be able to use the short passing game. And I want Justin Fields to be able to have a game plan where Luke Getsy lets him get some completions across the middle, some slants, some crossing patterns, things that will get the ball out quick because the Vikings pass rush isn't elite by any means, but they've got playmakers that can get to us. And I'm not trusting the Bears offensive line against really any team. We thought the Giants defense wasn't very good and they just absolutely got to Justin Fields all day long. So to me, you got to use the short passing game. It's kind of like an extension of the run game because the Vikings, I bet you they will sell out to stop the run. I bet you that is what they'll do. So that is what I need to see here. Let's get Cole Kmet involved here. Let's use him more. Let's get some guys across the middle of the field. Let's get some easy completions here. Darnell Mooney had a good game last week. Let's keep building off that. And then, yeah, definitely take your shots down the field. If you can run the football, great. But I don't think you will be able to as much as you want to because I think the Vikings will sell out to stop the run. All right, so taking a look at this matchup from an overall perspective, who do I have winning this game? And I just got to tell you, folks, if you look at both teams objectively speaking, what do the Bears do better than the Vikings? They don't have a better quarterback. They don't have a better running back. They don't have a better receiver core. They don't have a better tight end. They don't have a better offensive line. The only thing you could say is the defense, and that is also one aspect of it. Maybe the pass defense is better than really the rush defense. The Bears' rush defense statistically is the worst in football. So to me, we clearly know, at least by the numbers, that the Vikings are the better team. And so to me, I will pick them to win this game. But hear me out here. This is a division game. This is a game in which the Vikings are flying back from London. Keep that in mind. Jet lag is a real thing. This is a game inside a dome, so no weather conditions that the Bears have to deal with like they've been dealing with the past couple of weeks. And this is a Vikings defense that still, again, isn't very good. 29th in pressure percentage, and their coverage unit ranks 26th. I think the Bears will make this a game. I'm not expecting them to win or picking them to win, but I think they can win. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and say the Vikings, who have looked impressive thus far, win this game 27-17. Division games always tend to be a lot closer than people think. I know a lot of people are expecting a blowout, but I'll go ahead and say 27-17. The Minnesota Vikings win this game. I'm just telling you folks, the talent gap to me is just evident here, and the Vikings are at home. Can't pick the Bears, objectively speaking. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you have winning this matchup? Leave a comment down below as always.